भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिके। ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणरघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले प्रभुपादते प्रिय श्रीगिरिराजाय स्वामिने सुभक्तरारास बिहारिभ्यं भक्तिभ्यश्चात्मादायिने। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारिणं। हरे कृष्ण हरे बोल। So we are reading from Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 4. So we are going to discuss. So this is the Hamsa Guhya prayers, which is very technical, very highly philosophical. And so last week we had a huge discussion on what is philosophy. So today it continues on the same trend about philosophy. So with text 32. You have the book? Okay. Astiti nastiti cha vastunishtayor ekastayor bhina viruddha dharmanoho avikshitam kinchana yoga sankhyayoho samham param hyanukulam brihat tat. So now this is going to be heavy duty philosophy. So that's important, and Prabhupada has made it super simple. Super simple. So we are sitting in front of Prabhupada here, right? I'm sure he's happy we are reading his book in front of him. So the translation. There are two parties, namely the theist and the atheist, who is asti and who is nastic. Astic and nastic. The theist who accept the super soul find the spiritual cause through mystic yoga. So, let's just make all the notes from the very beginning. So, two groups, theist and atheist. So, the theist, they accept the super soul and they're looking for the supreme cause. So, their method is for the mystic yoga. The Sankhya, however, who merely analyzes the material elements, comes to a conclusion of impersonalism and doesn't accept a supreme cause, whether Bhagavan, Paramatma, or even Brahman. Instead, he is preoccupied with the superfluous external activities of material nature. Ultimately, however, both parties demonstrate the absolute truth, because although they offer opposing statements, their object is the same ultimate cause. They are both approaching the same Supreme Brahman, to whom I offer my respectful obeisances. Now, Srila Prabhupada, I'm sure this is all from the Sandarbhas of Jiva Goswami, maybe others also, but make this very simple, such a complicated topic. That he made it very simple. Actually, I was very encouraged to read all these passages, because, if you're actually studying in schools, colleges, you're studying all this, Prabhupada has given everything here. What is this philosophy, Mayavad philosophy and personalism? So let's read here. Prabhupada is going very systematically in simple children language, I would say. He has explained this. Sorry?
The Sankhya.
Yeah, now, we're going to read now. Prabhupada explain, huh? Yeah. Actually, there are two sides to this argument. Some say that the absolute has no form, nirakar, that we are familiar with this. And others say that the absolute has a form, sakar. We say sagun, nirgun, right? So here, nirakar and sakar. Now listen very carefully. So both are speaking about akar. Therefore, the word form is the common factor. All right? Akar, nirakar, and sakar. So the common factor is form, akar. So, therefore, the word form is the common factor, although some accept it, asti or astika. So some accept, yes, the Lord has form, whereas others try to negate it, nastika, nasti or nastika. Since the devotee considers the word form, akar, the common factor for both, he offers his respectful obeisances to the form, although others may go on arguing of whether the absolute has a form or not. He just say, okay, nirakar and sakar. What is the common point? It is akar. So you go on arguing and say whether he has or not. For me, akar is the word, so I take it. The Supreme Lord has a form. Now, in this word, the word yoga sankhya yoho is very important. Yoga means bhakti yoga, because yogis also accept the existence of the all-pervading Supreme Soul and try to see that Supreme Soul within their hearts. So here Prabhupada is taking the word yoga. See, in the verse, it's given yoga sankhya yoho, second line. Avekshitam kinchana yoga sankhya yoho. Alright. So this sankhya yoga, so now Prabhupada is going to explain this word yoga and sankhya yoga, and he's going to explain the different processes. So Prabhupada is saying yoga means bhakti yoga. Why? He's going to explain. Because yogis, they also accept the existence of the all-pervading Supreme Soul and try to see the Supreme Soul within their hearts. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 12.13.1, Dhyana vasthita tad gatena manasa pashyanti yam yoginaha. The devotee tries to come directly in touch with the Supreme Personal Godhead. whereas the yogi tries to find the super soul within the heart by meditation. Follow? Thus, both directly and indirectly, yoga means bhakti yoga. Sankhya, however, means physical study of the cosmic situation through speculative knowledge. Alright, so this is according to their mind and intelligence. This is generally known as Jnana Shastra. The Sankhyaites are attached to the impersonal Brahman. Alright? So devotees, they are seeing the personal form. Yogis, they are seeing the Paramatma. And Sankhyats, they are seeing the impersonal Brahman. But the absolute truth is known in three ways: Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwaniti, Shabdyati. The absolute truth is one, but some accept him as impersonal Brahman, some are the super soul existing everywhere, and some as Bhagavan, the supreme person, Godhead. The central point is the absolute truth. So, who is the subject of our discussion? It is the absolute truth. All right? I mean, it's very, very interesting. Although the impersonalist and personalist fight with one another, they focus on the same Parabrahman. All right? Whereas the gross materialist, he's not even concerned about it. So here, these are transcendentalists, and they're focusing on the Param but they are seeing different things. In the Yoga Shastras, Krishna is described as follows: Krishnam Pishangambaram Ambujekshanam Chaturbhujam Shankha Gadayudham. Thus, the pleasing appearance of the Supreme Person Godhead's bodily features, his limbs, and his dress are described. So, in the Yoga Shastra, we'll find a description of the personal form of Krishna, his bodily features, his dress, etc. The Sankhya Shastra, however, denies the existence of the Lord's transcendental form. The Sankhya Shastra, they deny. The Sankhya Shastra say that the Supreme Absolute Truth has no hands, no legs, and no name. So this is the Sankhya Shastra, the yogis, the Gyan yogis. Jnana Shastra. So what does it say? Hiyanama Rupa Guna Pani Padam Achakshur Ashotram Ekam Advityam Api Nama Rupadikam Nasti. The Vedic mantra says Apani Pado Javano Grahita. The Supreme Lord has no hands, no legs, but he can accept whatever is offered to him. Alright? Actually, such statements accept that the Supreme has hands and legs, but deny that he has material hands and legs. This is why the Absolute is called Aprakrita. Is it clear? The Supreme Person Godhead has his Sachid Ananda Vigraha, a form of eternity, knowledge and bliss, not a material form. The Sankhyas or Jnanis deny the material form, and the devotees also know very well that the Absolute Truth, Bhagavan, has no material form. So what's happening here? The Sankhyates, they deny the material form. All right? The devotees also, they deny the material form, but they know he has a spiritual form. All right? Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govind, is the supreme controller. He has an eternal, blissful, spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for he is the prime cause of all causes. So he is the origin, he is the starting point of everything. The conception of the absolute without hands and legs and the conception of the absolute with hands and legs are apparently contradictory. So on the one hand, we say the absolute has no hands and legs, and on the other hand, we are saying the absolute truth has hands and legs. And say, but how come this? You are saying one thing, this one saying one thing. So it's apparently contradictory. But they both coincide with the same truth about the Supreme Absolute Person. But both of them, the subject matter that they're discussing, the Absolute Person. Supreme Absolute Person. Therefore, the word Vastunishtayoho, which is used herein, indicates that both the yogis and Sankhyads have faith in the reality, but are arguing about it from different viewpoints of material and spiritual identities. Para Brahman or Brihat is the common point. The Sankhyaites and Yogis are both situated in the same Brahman, but they differ because of different angles of vision. So here you're looking at, here's the absolute truth. One is looking this side, one is looking this side. All right? So there has to be a conclusion, even though otherwise the whole world will go and say, okay, yes, you have your opinion, and we are saying this way, this is our perception. You are saying your perception, so okay, keep your opinion for yourself, right? This is basically how we end up. You think what you want, and I will think what I want. Finish. But here, the bhakti yogis are not going to leave it. Usually what happens among the Mayavadis, what do they do? Yes, it's okay, you have your opinion, I have my opinion. So we are not going to agree, it's okay. We are not going to change you. Whereas the bhakti yogis like Srila Prabhupada, they were defeating. They went all out to defeat. I just heard one lecture, Prabhupada is saying that. He said that the Mayavadis, they don't preach. Right? And for me, until a Hare Krishna devotee came, door to door, I've never seen anyone who preach. So Prabhupada is explaining why. He said that Mayavadi, they don't preach because they are afraid they may fall down. If they will mix with the general population, they may fall down. And Srila Prabhupada said, but the devotees, they are merciful. They're merciful. So they go door to door, right? And they tell people about Krishna, and Krishna won't let them fall down. So now, the directions given by the Bhakti Shastra point one in the perfect direction, because the Supreme Person Godhead says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktyamam abhijanati. If you want to know me, then you should have bhakti. Only by devotional service am I to be known. The Bhaktas know that the Supreme Person has no material form, whereas the Jnanis simply deny the material form. It's like such a thing. I'll read it again. The Bhaktas know that the Supreme Person has no material form. All right? Know that the Supreme Person has no material form. Whereas the Jnanis, they simply deny the material form. They say it's formless. All right? One should therefore take shelter of the Bhakti Marg, the path of devotion. Then everything will be clear. So if we take to Bhakti Yoga, we'll understand properly. Where are we? Yeah. Jnanis concentrate on the Virat Rupa, the gigantic universal form of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita, right? Arjun, he saw the gigantic, the Virat Rupa, he saw everything. I mean, it's very horrible actually. You know, you just have to open your news channel, right? And you will see bomb here, tsunami here, and you know, God knows what's happening. This is all Virat Rupa. So when Arjuna saw all that, he saw how all the soldiers were entering death. He was so shaken. He said, Krishna, please come back to your original form. I don't want this Virat form. Hmm? This is so Virat Roop. So yeah, so if we take the path of devotional service, Marga, Marga, then everything will be clear. How? So Jnanis, 1 minute. So Jnanis concentrate on the Virat Roop. Actually, I need a board here. It's so complicated. One should therefore take shelter of the Bhakti Ma, the path of devotion, then everything will be clear. Now, Prabhupada is explaining. Jnanis concentrate on the Virat Roop, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, right? What Arjuna saw. This is a good system in the beginning for those who are extremely materialistic. All right, see, the problem is that they have to accept some cause of creation, some controller of creation. So if they are coming to that point and saying, yes, the Virat Roop is also a form of the Supreme Lord, then it's good. So it's good for the beginners. But there is no need to think continuously of the Virat Roop. Right? If whole day we are just in front of our TV or whatever, watching the news and all the bombs, all this whatever is happening, this Virat Roop, right? The Roop of destruction. Virat Roop. It's such mass destruction that's going on right now. This can only be due to so we are seeing the Virat Rupa, material Kala, the form of Kala, the Supreme Lord in the form of Kala. Yes, when Arjuna was shown the Virat Rupa of Krishna, he saw it, but he didn't want to see it perpetually. He therefore requested the Lord to return to his original form as two-armed Krishna. In conclusion, learned scholars find no contradictions in the devotee's concentration upon the spiritual form of the Lord. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya say that less intelligent devotees think that their conclusion is the ultimate. What is their conclusion? Non-devotees, what is their conclusion? Yeah. So the thing is that they are confused whether he has a form or not. In conclusion, learned scholars find no contradiction in the devotee's concentration upon the spiritual form of the Lord. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya says that the less intelligent non-devotees think that their conclusion is ultimate, but because devotees are completely learned, they can understand that the Supreme Person Godhead is the ultimate goal. You have any question on this? Would you understand it? Huh? They are atheists. They are focused only on material nature. Right? And sometimes they even deny Brahman. Right? So their activities, everything is only material nature. How is it happening? Material nature. And throughout India, you see knowingly or unknowingly, everybody is Brahman. So the theist means you surrender to Krishna. You accept his authority and you ask him permission before you do anything. And if he doesn't, and you check whether he agrees to it or not also. Right?
Just feel there is no form and whatever is happening, it's nature.
Yes, basically. Okay, you read the next one. We read together the Sanskrit and you can read. Yeah, I will read the shloka. Yeah. योऽनुग्रहार्थं भजतं पादमूलम् अनामरूपो भगवानन्तः नमामि रूपाणि च जन्मकर्मभिर्भेजे समह्यं परमा प्रसीदतु.
Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is inconceivably opulent, who is devoid of all material names, forms, and pastimes, and who is all pervading, is specially merciful to the devotees who worship his lotus feet. Thus he exhibits transcendental forms and names with his different pastimes. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose form is eternal and full of knowledge and bliss, be merciful to me. Purport: In regard to the significant word Anama Rupa, Sri Sridhar Swami says Prakirta Nama Rupa Rahito Pi. The word Anama, which means having no name, indicates that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no material name. Simply by chanting the name of Narayana to call his son Ajamila attains salvation. This means that Narayana is not an ordinary mundane name. It is non-material. The word Anama therefore indicates that the names of the Supreme Personality, Supreme Lord, do not belong to this material world. The vibration of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is not a material sound, and similarly the form of the Lord and his appearance and activities are all non-material. To show his causeless mercy to the devotees as well as to the non-devotees, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears in this material world with names, forms, and pastimes, all of which are transcendental. Unintelligent men who cannot understand this think that these names, forms, and pastimes are material, and therefore they deny that he has a name or a form.
We'll just do paragraph by paragraph. So this is clear, is it? This paragraph is clear?
Considered with scrutiny, the conclusion of non-devotees who say that God has no name, and that of devotees who know that his name is not material are practically the same. The Supreme Personality of God has no material name, form, birth, appearance, or disappearance, but nonetheless he takes his birth, Janma, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.6. अजोपि सनन अव्यय आत्मा भूतानाम ईश्वरपि सन प्रकृतिम स्वम अधिष्ठाय संभवामि आत्ममायया. Although the Lord is unborn, Aja, and his body never undergoes material changes, he nevertheless appears as an incarnation, maintaining himself always in the transcendental stage, Shuddha Sattva. Thus he exhibits his transcendental form, names, and activities. That is his special mercy towards his devotee. Others may continue merely arguing about whether the absolute truth has form or not. But when a devotee, by the grace of the Lord, sees the Lord personally, he becomes spiritually ecstatic. Unintelligent person says that the Lord does nothing. Actually, he has nothing to do. But nevertheless, he has to do everything, because without his sanction, no one can do anything. The unintelligent, however, cannot see how he is working and how the entire material nature is working under his direction. His different potencies work perfectly. न तस्य कार्यं कारणं च विद्यते न तत्समस् कभ्यते परस्य शक्तिर्विविधाव श्रुवते स्वाभाविकी ज्ञानबला क्रिया च श्वेतवर्तरा उपनिषद 6.8. He has nothing to do personally, for since his potencies are perfect, everything is immediately done by his will. Persons who fo- person Persons to whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not revealed cannot see how he is working, and therefore they think that even there is God, he has nothing to do or has no particular name.
So now, is it clear this next paragraph also? Is it clear? What question you have? So unintelligent persons say that the Lord does nothing. All right? And that bhaktas say, no, Krishna has full work. So many activities, right? So they say, anama rupaha, prakrita nama rupa rahitopi. So the Supreme Lord is anama, meaning he has no name like us, meaning designations. But he has names in according to his activities. So yeah, what question you have? Okay, so the Supreme Lord has nothing to do. So apparently he has nothing to do, but actually he is the one giving all the orders for the entire creation to happen and work, right? So his potency. So it is the Supreme Lord and his potency. So he's acting through his potency. So he's not doing anything, but his potency are at work. So he's relaxing, right? So the Mayavadis, they are saying that the Supreme Lord, he doesn't do any work. Like us, we have to work. And Prabhupada is saying he's got so many potencies on his behalf, they're doing everything so Krishna can relax. Right? He has nothing to do personally, for since his potencies are perfect, everything is immediately done by his will. So these potencies, they're not acting independently. The order is being given by the Supreme Lord, and then they are acting. Then it is effective. Persons to whom the Supreme Person Godhead is not revealed cannot see how he is working. All right, so like you need the eyes to see the hand of God, right? You need the eyes. But these Mayavadis, they don't see, they have no eyes. Right? Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, your eyes is full of love. So you see the hand of Krishna everywhere. Just like yesterday or the other day. Somehow, on this YouTube, so there is, because we can't travel everywhere, right? So now this vlog, I don't know, vlog, I think you call it, this video yatra. So one title drew my attention. What was the title? Uh, the Butter Festival, something like this. The Butter Festival. So I said, oh, I know about this because in Krishna book, it describes how the gopis and the gopas, they will throw makhan at each other, right? So this one man, he went in uh, up in the Himalayas. So he came to that village. All right, he came to a village, and in that village, so this man was completely amazed. He said they are living completely in tune with nature, absolutely and completely in tune with nature, and they have cows and buffaloes, etc., and they have plenty of makhan. So they have one day festival when they're doing exactly that.
It's on some blog.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's up there in those Uttarakhand, all these, up there, some village, some up in the Himalayas. So then say this is exactly what's described in Krishna book. So it is a festival, and he was showing how they are dancing. They are, it's their local dance. The men are dancing, the girls are dancing. So this man said he's also dancing. He joined in. He's dancing, and then he said, "If you come here, be careful with your camera because your camera will get butter." All right. So I forgot why I brought up this point.
God's activities.
Yeah, God has so many activities, right? So he is Makanchor and he is doing whenever there is some festival, right? They throw butter at each other. So he's saying that they put this pichkari, right? They put the butter in the pichkari and they throw, right? It's exactly how it's described in Krishna book. But so we only think it's in Krishna book. And here this man, this young boy, he experienced it. Huh? Amazing. So the Supreme Lord is doing many things. Huh? Yeah, he has nothing to do personally, for since his potencies are perfect, everything is immediately done by his will. So then he relax and enjoy butter, throwing butter. Persons to whom the Supreme Person Godhead is not revealed. Yeah, that was the point, right? Revealed. So I was just saying that when I saw this, immediately I remembered Krishna book, right? Krishna book. And here, this man, he witnessed it and he doesn't know this is a page of Krishna book, right? The pastimes of Krishna, which is happening here locally. I remember when I was a child, they will have this Haldi festival. Haldi, when there is this marriage festival. So one day, the next day after they have done all Haldi to the girl or the boy, then all the women will play with that Haldi, right? Which is described in Krishna book, right? So many things are going on. So persons to whom the Supreme Person Godhead is not revealed cannot see how he is working. And therefore they think that even if there is God, he has nothing to do or has no particular name. So I have just described the Leela of the Supreme Law, which has nothing to do with creation. But this creation is also going on under his supervision, but it seems to be automatic, going on automatic. Actually, the Lord's name already exists because of his transcendental activities. I just said Makanchur, right? The Lord is sometimes called Guna Karma Nama because his name according to his transcendental activities. For example, Krishna means all attractive. This is the Lord's name because his transcendental qualities make him very attractive. Krishna, that which akarshan. No? Then as a small boy, he lifted Govardhan hill. So his name is Giridhari, Govardhan Dhari, Giridhari. And in his childhood, he killed many demons. Such activities are very attractive and therefore he is sometimes called Giridhari, Madhusudan, Agha, Nishudana and so on. Because he acted as the son of Nanda Maharaj, he is called Nanda Tanuja. These names already exist, but since non-devotees cannot understand the names of the Lord, he is sometimes called Annama or nameless. This means that he has no material names. All his activities are spiritual and therefore he has spiritual names. All right? It's very interesting. So it come on this point about names. Because one point in philosophy, like we have described, no hands, no legs, and now we are saying no names. So he has no material names, but he has so many unlimited names according to his activities. Generally, less intelligent men under the impression that the Lord has no form. Therefore, he appears in his original form as Krishna, Sachidanand Vigraha, to carry out his mission of participating in the battle of Kurukshetra and pastime to protect the devotees and vanquish the demons. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadiskritam. So now I say, okay, the Supreme Lord has no work. So Krishna comes and says, okay, I participate in the battle of Kurukshetra. This is his mercy. For those who think that he has no form and no work to do, Krishna comes to show that indeed he works. And Krishna in Bhagavad Gita also told Arjuna, you fight. Even I have to work. If you don't fight, what will happen? Right? He said, if I don't fight, then all these people will be put to ruination. If I don't work, Krishna said, if I don't work, all these people will follow in my footsteps. They say, we don't work, we relax. So Krishna is working, right? And he's saying, Arjuna, you work for me. He works so gloriously that no one else can perform such uncommon acts. But difference in his work. Although he appeared as a human being, he married 16,108 wives, which is impossible for a human being to do. The Lord performs such activities to show people how great he is, how affectionate he is, and how merciful he is. Although his original name is Krishna, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. He acts in unlimited ways, and therefore, according to his work, he has many, many thousands of names. So this particular shloka is about the names, not Anama, but he's got many names. Oh God, this book is so heavy. All right, text 34. यः प्रकृते ज्ञानप्रते जनानं यथाशयं देहगतो विभाति यथा नीलपार्थिवम् अश्रितो गुणं स ईश्वरो मे कुरुतं मनोरथम्. Can you read?
Translation. As the air carries various characteristics of the physical elements, like the aroma of a flower or colors resulting from a mixture of dust in the air, the Lord appears through lower systems of worship according to one's desire. Although he appears as the demigods and not in his original form, what is the use of these other forms? May the original Supreme Personality of Godhead please fulfill my desires. The impersonalists imagine the various demigods to be forms of the Lord. For example, the Mayavadis worship 5 demigods, Panchopashan. They do not actually believe in the form of the Lord, but for the sake of worship, they imagine some form to be God. Generally, they imagine a form of Vishnu, a form of Shiva, and forms of Ganesha, the sun god, and Durga. This is called Panchopasana. Daksha, however, wanted to worship not an imaginary form but the supreme form of Lord Krishna. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura describes the difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and an ordinary living being. As pointed out in a previous verse, Swarvam Punam Veda Gunamscha Tajjano Na Veda Sarvajanam Anantam Ide. The omnipotent Supreme Lord knows everything, but the living beings does not actually know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I know everything, but no one knows me. This is the difference between the Supreme Lord and an ordinary living being. In a prayer in Srimad Bhagavatam, Queen Kunti says, my dear Lord, you exist inside and outside, yet no one can see you.
So again, see, these are all philosophical points. So this is the philosophy, the Mayavad philosophy. So what do? See, there we have spoken of those who are impersonalists, who are accepting the Brahman form. Now these impersonalists, so they imagine. See, like impersonalists, they're saying the impersonal form of the Lord. Now Mayavadis, what are they doing?
They are seeing God in them.
Yeah, they are saying yes. Yes. So what do? They do not actually believe in the form of the Lord, but for the sake of worship, right? So they establish temples, and they call it Panchopasana. So Vishnu, Shiva, Sun God, Durga, Ganesh, Panchopasana. All right. So now Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describe that there is a difference between the Supreme Lord and ordinary living being. Very simple. The omnipotent Lord knows everything, but we don't know. We don't actually know ourselves. We don't know the Supreme Lord either. The conditioned soul cannot understand the Supreme Person of Godhead by speculative knowledge or by imagination. Like we are not able to even imagine what is the extent of this creation, right? And we spoke of Virat Rupa. We can't even imagine the extent of the Virat Rupa. One must therefore know the Supreme Person of Godhead. How? By the grace of the Supreme Lord Himself, when He reveals Himself. So Shrimad Bhagavatam 10.14.29 says, Athapite deva padam bujadvaya prasadaleshanugrihita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno na chanya eko pichiram vichinvan. My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Person Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. Right? It's not possible. All types of Vedic literature is there. And we go on trying to figure out what is the Supreme Lord, who He is. This is the Vedic of the Shastra. An ordinary man may be a great philosopher and may speculate upon what the absolute truth is, but what his form is and where he's existing. But he cannot understand this truth. So how to understand? Sevan mukhehi jivado swayam eva spurati adaha. One can understand the Supreme Person Godhead only through devotional service. This is also explained by the Supreme Person Godhead Himself in Bhagavad Gita. Just like yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I went for darshan at Ras Bihari. Oh my God, the way he was dressed. I'm looking, I say, Ras Bihari, what happened today? What happened today? Such a pose. So he wanted to show himself off, right?
Colors were also something very bright.
Huh?
Colors were also very
Yeah, orange and I don't know what.
green.
You saw, right?
Every day I see.
Oh my God, he was just fabulous. And well, it was like something special on one side of his face. So it was like he was leaning. Yeah, so he reveals himself and he catches our eye. So bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanyaschasmi tatvatah chasmi tadvatah. One can understand the Supreme Personal Godhead as He is only by devotional service. Unintelligent persons want to imagine or concoct a form of the Supreme Personal Godhead. But devotees want to worship the actual Personal Godhead. So they will invent how, like this abstract art. That abstract, this is something new. So it became more and more popular. And just imagine in India, people who are such superb artists who always painted Krishna's form, Krishna's Leela, now they start teaching abstract art. Meaning, unintelligent men want to imagine or concoct a form of the Supreme Personal Godhead. They are making people forget the form of the Supreme Lord. Isn't it? Your children, if they learn art, abstract art, this is impersonalism. Therefore, Daksha prays, one may think of you as personal, impersonal, or imaginary, but I wish to pray to your Lordship that you fulfill my desires to see you as you actually are. All right? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that this verse is specially meant for the impersonalist who think that he himself is the supreme because there is no difference between the living being and God. So the impersonalists think there is no difference between himself and the Supreme Lord. The Mayavadi philosophers think that there is only one supreme truth and that he is also that supreme truth. Tattvamasi. There's only one supreme truth, and then I am also that supreme truth. So I merge in the supreme truth and I become the supreme truth. This is how they are thinking. Actually, this is not knowledge but foolishness. And this verse is specially meant for such fools whose knowledge have been stolen by illusion, mayaya parita jnana. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that such person, jnani maninaha, think themselves very advanced, but actually they are unintelligent. They mante hai ko jnan hai. Right? Jnani maninaha. They believe they're great scholars, but actually they're unintelligent. Why? Because they think they're God. In this regard, in regard to this verse, Srila Madhvacharya says, Swadeha stham harim prahur adhama jivam evatu madhyamas-chapya nirnitam jivad bhinna janardanam. The three classes of men, the lowest adham, middle madhyam, best uttama. The adham, what do they think? They think there's no difference between God and the living entity, except that the living entity is under designations, whereas the Absolute Truth has no designations. All right? So they think the Jeev and the Supreme Absolute Truth is one and the same, but the Jiva now has designation. The Supreme Lord has no designation, like he's nobody's son, he has no work, he has etc., no name, etc., no designation. Whereas the Jeev has a designation, he's son of this one, daughter of this one, that's his occupation, that's the color of his hair, the color of his eyes, the color of his clothes. These are designation of the Jeev. So Jeev has designation, but Supreme Lord has no designation. My God. In their opinion, as soon as the designation of the material body are dissolved, the Jiva, the living entity, will mix with the Supreme who has no designation, okay? Mix. They give the argument of Ghatakasha Patakasha. in which the body is compared to a pot with the sky within and the sky without. So here's a pot. The body is like a pot. So in the pot there is sky, and outside also is sky. When the pot breaks, the sky inside will merge with the, yeah, that's what they say. When the pot breaks, the sky inside becomes one with the sky outside, and so the impersonalists say that the living being becomes one with the Supreme. This is their argument. But Srila Madhvacharya says that such an argument is put forward by the lowest class of men. Another class of men cannot ascertain what is the actual form of the Supreme is. So they can't figure out what it is, like I said, this abstract art. So they're still maintaining some form, but they can't figure out how Krishna looks like. I mean, very bad. You see, even you just Google images of Krishna, you see all types of blurred idea of Krishnas. You saw, no?
Just forwards I've seen.
Very sorry.
AI like.
Oh God, I don't know what they massacre Krishna's form. So another class of, they cannot ascertain what is the actual form. So I'm saying that, are you saying AI production of Krishna, right? Anyway, still Braj is so beautiful. I was walking, we were going to some temple, and suddenly I saw these pictures. There's a 3D picture, So Krishna's blinking, opening his eyes. You know that? I say, at least whoever has made that art, he's used technology, right? But he's done it proper. He's done it proper. So another class of men cannot ascertain what the actual form of the Supreme is, but they agree that there is a Supreme who controls the activities of the living being. So they are saying, yes, we don't know properly who he is, what he looks like, but we know he's controlling. Such philosophers are accepted as mediocre, middle. The best, however, are those who understand the Supreme Lord Satchidananda Vigraha. Purnanam dadis gunakam sarva jiva vilakshanam. His form is completely spiritual, full of bliss, and completely distinct from that of the conditioned soul or any other living entity. Utamastu harim prahustarata nyena teshucha. Such philosophers are the best because they know that the Supreme Person Godhead reveals himself directly to the worshippers in various modes of material nature. They know that there are 33 million demigods just to convince the conditioned soul that there is a supreme power and to induce him to agree to worship one of these demigods, so that by the association of devotees, he may be able to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Person Godhead. So meaning that it's better that you have all those devas because they have form. So the conditioned soul, when they are worshipping the deva, they are accepting a form. And then when they go higher, they can understand that there is the Supreme Person Godhead. As Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Matta Parantaram Nanyat Kichid Asti Dhananjaya. There is no truth superior to me. Aham Arirhi Devanam. I am the origin of all the demigods. Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha. I am superior to everyone, even Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the other demigods. These are the conclusions of the Shastra, and one who accepts this conclusion should be considered a first-class philosopher. So this is all from Bhagavad Gita. Such a philosopher knows that the Supreme Person Godhead is the Lord of the demigod. Deva Devarishwaram Sutram Anandam Prana Vedinaha. So this is the end of the prayers of the Hamsa Guhya. Okay, we'll do a little more. We'll do a little because the chapter is very long. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Stutah Samstutvatah Satasmin Aghamarshane Pradurasit Kuru Shreta Bhagavan Bhaktavatsalaha Krita Pada Suparnam Sehe Pralambasta Mahabhujaha चक्रशङ्खासि चर्मेषु धनुपाशगदाधरः पीतावासा घनश्यामः प्रसन्नवदने क्षणः वनमाला विनीताङ्गो लसच्चित्वत्सः कौस्तुभः महाकिरीटः कत्तका स्फुरान्मकरकुण्डलः कञ्चाङ्गुलीः वलया नूपुरङ्गदभूषितः त्रैलोक्यः मोहनं रूपं बिभ्रत्रिभुवनेश्वरः वृतो नारदनादाय नन्दाद्यः प्रसादे सुरयूथपः स्तुतः मानोऽनुगायाद्भिः सिद्धा गन्धर्वचारणः. How you feeling about reciting this? What do you think is happening here?
It's describing the Lord.
Yeah, beautiful. Read now. Daksha is having darshan of the Supreme Lord.
Translation. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who is extremely affectionate to his devotees, was very pleased by the prayers offered by Daksha. And thus he appeared at that holy place known as Angamarsana. O Agamarsana. O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the Kuru dynasty, the Lord's lotus feet rested on the shoulders of his carrier Garuda, and he appeared with 8 long, mighty, very beautiful arms. In his hands he held a disc, conch shell, sword, shield, arrow, bow, rope, and club. In each hand a different weapon, all brilliantly shining. His garments were yellow, and his bodily hue deep bluish. His eyes and face were very cheerful, and from his neck to his feet hung a long garland of flowers. His chest was decorated with the Kaustuba jewels and the mark of Srivastava. On his head was the gorgeous round helmet, and his ears were decorated with earrings resembling sharks. All these ornaments were uncommonly beautiful. The Lord wore a golden belt on his waist, bracelets on his arms, rings on his fingers, and ankle bells on his feet. Thus decorated by various ornaments, Lord Hari, who is attractive to all living entities of the 3 worlds, is known as Purushottam, the best personality. He was accompanied by great devotees like Narada, Nanda, and all the principal demigods, led by the heavenly king Indra and the residents of various upper planetary systems such as Siddhaloka, Gandharva Loka, and Charna Loka. Seated on both sides of the Lord and behind him as well, these devotees offered him prayers continuously.
Yeah, so we want to sing it. What the song? Oh, this is what the song. Picture the song, right? I'm excited about this. So much we have to suffer.
Reading only
Yeah, we have to suffer through all these prayers, right? So we got the reward now. Can you put on the light? Text 40. रूपं तन्महद् आश्चर्यं विचक्षागतसाधवसः ननामा दण्डवत् भूमौ प्रहिस्तात्मा प्रजापतिः. Seeing that wonderful and effulgent form of the Supreme Person Godhead, Prajapati Daksha was first somewhat afraid, but then he was very pleased to see the Lord, and he fell to the ground like a stick, Dandavat, to offer his respect to the Lord. Alright, so we shouldn't say Dandavat Pranam, we should do Dandavat. Right? It's an action. It's not it's not just a saying, right? Dandavat Pranam, you should do Dandavat, fall down, right? Text 41. न किञ्चनोदिरायितुं न शक्यति वरया मुदा पूरिता मनोद्वारे हरादिन्या इव निर्झरः. As rivers are filled by water flowing from a mountain, all of Daksha's senses were filled with pleasure. Like we said, no, we saw the beauty of Radha Rasvihajan. Look. Because of his highly elevated happiness, Daksha could not say anything but simply remain flat on the ground. Purport. When one actually realizes or sees the Supreme Person Godhead, he is filled with complete happiness. For example, when Dhruva Maharaj saw the Lord in his presence, he said, Swamin kritatosmin varam nayache. My dear Lord, I have nothing to ask from you. Now I'm completely satisfied. Similarly, when Prajapati Daksha saw the Supreme Lord in his presence, he simply fell flat, unable to speak or ask him for anything. Tam tatha vannatam bhaktam prajakamam prajapatim chitagya sarva bhutanam idam aha janardanaha. So his prayers was fruitful. He did tapasya, right? Daksha, he did so much severe austerity, and he started offering prayers, so it was fruitful. So the fruit of offering all those prayers is that the Supreme Lord became attracted to him. So when we chant, we do the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or we do the deity worship, right? The deities reveal himself, right? So there's fruit. Although Prajapati Daksha could not say anything, when the Lord, who knows everyone's heart, saw his devotee prostrate in that manner and desiring to increase the population, he addressed him as follows. So Prajapati Daksha, he didn't open his mouth. He said, I don't want. But the super soul is in his heart. He said he knows what he wants. Right? So he says, okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Pachetasah Mahabhagah Samsiddhastapasah Bhavan Yachradhaya Matparaya Mahi Bhavam Param Gataha. The Supreme Person God had said, You, O most fortunate Prachetasa, because of your great faith in me, you have attained the supreme devotional ecstasy. Indeed, because of your austerities combined with exalted devotion, your life is now successful. You have achieved complete perfection. The Lord Himself confirms in Bhagavad Gita 8.15, one reaches the highest perfection when he attains the fortune of realizing the Supreme Person Godhead. Mam upetyam punarjanma dukhalayam ashasvatam nanubvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhir paramam gataha. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement teaches one to follow the path toward the topmost perfection simply by performing service. All right, I think we should stop here. So we have come to text 44. So now the Supreme Lord is going to speak and give him his, fulfill his wishes, and then everything will conclude. So next week we should complete this chapter. 10 verses are there. Hare Krishna. You know, I was just listening to lectures on Udupi. So Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj. Didn't know. I mean, I'm just listening to all these. Like I just saw it tell you. I said how we went trekking up and vlog. So we saw the Pichkari, right? Pichkari, okay. Butter, okay, festival. So now, so he's telling the story of Udupi. This Kshetra called Udupi. Many stories are there. I'll just send the link, So I didn't know this section, but I was very much encouraged. So he said that Parasuram, he has done so many things, right? Killing all the Kshatriyas, etc., etc. So was said, okay, he went to Lord Shiva. He said, now time to be more Brahminical and stop all this Kshatriya business. So Lord Shiva told him, okay, so you should come to such and such place and you should practice austerity, right? So when he went to that place, it was only ocean, the Arabian Sea. Is it Arabian Sea here?
Yes.
Arabian Sea, okay? So there was only the ocean. So he said, but where will I do my tapasya? So then I don't know what happens. Yeah, he told Varun. He told Varuna Dev, you know, give me some space. It's only ocean like Bombay, right? Give me some space, right? But nothing was happening. So then what he did, he sent his Parasu, his hatch, is it? Hatchet? Axe. Axe, right? So he threw his axe, this Parasu. So from where he stand, meaning he was from Kanyakumari. From Kanyakumari, that from there he threw that axe and it went up to Thane. Thane, yeah. It went through Karnataka, Kerala, it came to Maharashtra, it ended up to Thane. That far he sent, and all that became land. So he said, what you call reclamation, right? Land reclamation. So he said, this is what he did, technology, he did only with his axe. So I felt, okay, so we are properly situated. We are in the land of Parasuram Kshetra.
Oh, till Thane.
Yeah. So that became land,
Like full South India was ocean.
that western coast.
Oh, western this line.
Yeah, I'm saying no,
Western Ghats.
from this Kanyakumari, western, right? He threw his axe, so it went up till Thane. Mumbai went through Thane, stopped to Thane, right? And this is Parasuram Kshetra, so he is the original land reclaimer. Then what he did, that the water was salty, so he called Vasuki. Who had done the Samudra Manthan, right? So he called, because the land was, so now this is salt water, this is Arabian Sea, salt water. So he called Vasuki, who was a Naga Dev. He called him and he mixed his poison in that water, so he did some distillation. He did some salt distillation, adding his poison to it, and it became sweet water, and the land became fertile, and therefore it's lush.
Sea water became sweet water.
Yeah, so the land became sweet because you can't grow anything, in the salty water. So the land became fertile. So he added, so with poison, God knows, not chemical, all right. So he did something. So with the poison of Vasuki, so he changed the sea water and made the land fertile, meaning that sweet water. What technology! Vasuki did it. So, so this section
We
is,
should thank Parsuram
huh?
for this.
Huh?
We should thank Lord Parsuram for this.
Yeah.
Mumbai.
Yeah. So everything became lush. So, so he said that's why in that area they have this. They worship the Nagas in south. He said because the Nagas, they keep the fertility of the land. That's why they do it. So nicely he explained all this. We don't know many things, right? We don't know about that. What that Pichkari butter, the butter festival. I saw on YouTube, this. Anyway, whenever I see some trekking going on, so because I know we'll never go, right? We look with the lenses of the camera. So we went high up in the Himalayas in one village, and there they were playing. They were having this festival, so they were throwing butter. Butter, yeah. Festival of butter. So everybody's full of butter. Yes. Krishna does it. Krishna does it. Well, you haven't read Krishna book? You haven't read in Krishna book?
I have heard this Phoolo ki Holi, that means throw flowers in Barsana. And
No.
Lattana Holi, but never.
No, there's Rangoli, right? There's Rang also, Holi. This butter also in Krishna book described. Yeah, yeah. So Prabhupada, Prabhupada, just hearing his lecture, he's saying that Krishna gave us Earth, planet Earth, but we want to make our own creation. So we're speaking about the motor cars. So he said that he had to go to the doctor and he had to drive 30 kilometers or 30 miles to go to the doctor. And he says somebody to go to work has to drive another 60 kilometers or something to go to work. He says, Krishna gave us this earth. We are not satisfied with it. We want our own creation. And what do we create? We create disturbance to travel 30 kilometers. What is that traffic jam? What is that traffic jam? Right? So I remember this small village. So that person was like, he was just amazed. He said that how these people, they are living with nature. What Krishna gave us. Krishna gave us this, and how they enjoy. They're strong, not like us. We have no strength. I saw another village. These women were 70, 80 years old. They were in the field. In the field, they're working in the field. They're strong. And I can't even lift one basket. They live with nature. They eat what is produced from that land.
You are still doing so much, Mataji.
No.
Like the youngsters,
Yeah.
for now, for this age, like they can't do even the small things.
No, I'm just saying, So Prabhupada is saying that we gave up nature. What Krishna gave us nature. We wanted to create our own food, own thing. Now we do food in engineering. That's why we are all weak. So in that village, so this person was saying that in their village, everybody was producing gehu. Now nobody's producing, everybody's gone out. Where? Factories. One day there'll be no food in India. Who will produce? No, they're not producing gehu, right? In village after village, they stop producing the food grains. That's why we are the way we are, right? Weak. They start mixing, they put in chemical, they start diluting, right? Food engineering, they do food. So Krishna has already given the grain. The original grain is getting lost. Like tomato, when I was a child, I could eat tomato nicely. After some time, I couldn't stand tomatoes. They've changed it.
Same my mother. When she married, she shifted to Mumbai. Now she always remembers her past childhood time. She always said, in childhood, the food has changed, everything has changed. Now the taste is not there, and we don't know now past time. So she says she don't like nowadays. She always remembers her childhood. Like childhood, the village was so good. Now everyone has moved, like you said. No one is in the village. No one is doing farming. The village is empty. And in her days, it was all festival. Everything girls should come together, celebrate festivals. They should get together at one's place, weddings, everything. She keep on telling me stories. I'm
Hmm.
like, I don't know, even I have not seen these things in my life. What I said. Food,
Yeah.
especially food, she says like
Yeah.
we used to go to the just farm and pluck the tomatoes and everything fresh, everything.
Yeah.
Stories.
Yeah. And this is just recent.
Yes, yes, she's just 45 years, so she 45, not more than that. So
Oh, this
she's
is
saying,
very recent.
she's saying in 20 years the time has changed so much in village.
Yeah, so this person is saying, he said they used to grow gehu, now nobody's growing gehu,
Nobody knows.
right? What will happen? What will
Now
you
gehu
eat?
is also not proper, like
Or
wherever it is
urea they
coming
are
from.
using.
So it's
Urea they are
person,
using.
people
Mm.
can't digest only.
Oh God. Hare Krishna.